So guys, when I saw this video clip go live and I saw it on Twitter, I really I don't even know how to even start this video. Like I'm glad that they answered the question the way that they answered it. But the fact that this reporter decided to make that the first question that they asked, it's very clear that he desperately wanted to have a gotcha moment. He wanted to kind of get his claim to diversity fame, so to speak, with this kind of question. So what am I talking about? Well, we have an article here from Bounding Into Comics, and I'm sure you guys know this video clip that we're about to go over. But the headline reads, "The Promised Land actor Mads Mikkelsen mocks woke journalists who questioned the Danish historical drama's lack of diversity." Again, you're talking about a film that is Danishly historical, and it took place in the 1700s. Needless to say, there wasn't many black people there. But of course, because it is mostly white or all white, suddenly it's a problem. If this was an all black film, this person would not care. This would never even have gotten asked or mentioned. This would just have been just another movie coming out. So let's get into this article, guys, from Bounding Into Comics. But of course, before we do, I'm Shadowban as hell. Just consider subscribing if you're new here. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. So before we actually get into the article, I want to watch the clip. They have it here. I want to pull it up so you guys can see it. Let's watch the clip in its entirety so you can get the whole context, and then we'll talk about it. Let's do it.
Hello, I'm from Denmark, and it's a pleasure to be here. So you're a little bit into it. This is a cast and a Danish production, which is entirely Nordic. It therefore has some lack of diversity, you would say, as also new rules are implied in Hollywood.
What are you on to?
Sorry, but
From the get-go.
From the get-go, there is set some rules of diversity across the Atlantic for competing in the best picture, the equivalent to this competition. As I see it, you don't live up to these standards with this broadcast, and there is just curious, it's not because of artistic reasons, it's because of lack of diversity that this can't compete in that competition. Are you worried about that?
Are you? I'm serious and honest, because you're putting us on the spot, so yeah, you answer the question.
No, because I have, in comparison, Parasite was a great movie.
What do you think?
I was thinking that Parasite was a great movie coming from South Korea, had the same level of diversity, but coming from South Korea, this was actually still eligible for the competition. You, as a Danish movie with an all-Nordic cast, is not. And that's what I think is a little bit conundrum here.
I don't understand the question.
Okay.
Well, first of all, the film takes place in Denmark in the 1750s.
Yeah.
We do have a big plot line, you know, about a girl of color who is being subjected to racism.
Okay.
And you know, and which was very rare. Any people of color in Denmark in
Yes.
almost nobody. She was probably at the time the only one in the entire country of Denmark. So it was. I would say that it hasn't been. It wasn't a thought in our mind that I think it would be a little weird. You know, if it's just a historical,
exactly.
how it was in the 1750s.
That's also what I was portraying for.
Yeah. Cool.
So that guy is lying out of his ass, saying, "Oh yeah, that's also what I was going for." Yeah, totally. No, you weren't, dude. You were trying to have a gotcha moment. You were trying to get these guys to, I don't know, admit to something. Like, I really don't understand what was the point of that question other than to try to get a gotcha moment out of these people. But all that ended up happening was he looked really stupid once both of these people answered the question. And I love that he turned it around on the guy who was actually asking the question, the reporter. I'm so happy that he turned it around on him and made him look like an idiot. So let's get into this article, guys, from Bounding Into Comics and see what it says. It says, during a recent press appearance and promotion of his upcoming starring role in The Promised Land, actor Mads Mikkelsen mocked the journalist's attempt to gotcha him. Oh, see, I'm not the only one who thought that. That's great. And director Nikolaj Arcel with a disingenuous question about the film's lack of diversity. Now, again, let's just be very clear. This would not even be a question. This would not even have been brought up if there was even one or two single people of color in that film. He was essentially trying to say that, oh, your film's not going to win best film if it doesn't meet diversity quotas. So you're admitting that diversity quotas are a real thing and we should adhere to them just because they're a real thing? Screw that. They're going to make the film they're going to want to make, and if it could be a smashing success, they don't care about winning a freaking award. They want to be as real to the story as they possibly can be. It says the exchange between the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny actor and the currently unidentified reporter took place amidst the press conference for the 18th century Danish historical drama held at the recent Venice International Film Festival. Pressed by the reporter, this is a cast and Danish production, which is entirely Nordic. Therefore, it has some lack of diversity, you would say. A laughing Mikkelsen replied, "What?" and asked him to start from the get-go. It is said that there are some rules of diversity across the Atlantic for competing Academy Awards Best Picture, the reporter then explained. The equivalent to this competition, and as I see, you don't live up to these standards with this broadcast. And I'm curious, not just because of artistic reasons, but because of the lack of diversity, that this can't compete in that competition. Are you worried about that? Dismissing the premise of the reporter's question, Mikkelsen fired back, "Are you? I'm serious and honest, because you're putting us on the spot, so you answer the question." I love that. I think that was, honestly, that's probably one of the best responses you can have to these absolutely stupid reporters. They want to go out there and ask these questions that have absolutely no relevance to what they're actually talking about. They're just one of these reporters that are trying to get a gotcha moment so they could get a bunch of headlines. That's all they're trying to do. The journalist then went on to mention Parasite, nothing that the South Korean film didn't meet the Academy's new diversity quotas, but still ended up winning several awards in 2020, including Best Director, Best International Feature Film, and Best Picture. In comparison, Parasite, I would think, is such a great movie, said the reporter. Coming from South Korea, it had the same level of diversity, but coming from South Korea, this was actually still eligible for the competition. You, as a Danish movie with an all-Nordic cast, is not. And that's what I think is a little bit of a conundrum. And then, of course, he says what he said in the video. You guys already saw it. I'm not going to repeat it. But obviously, he said this is how it was in the 1750s. There were no people of color essentially anywhere, and we're staying historically accurate. I don't think there's anything wrong with what he said. Issuing a joint statement in September 2020, Academy President David Rubin and Academy CEO Dawn Hudson announced that going forward, films would need to meet a certain diversity standard in order to be eligible for the Best Picture nomination. The aperture must widen to reflect our diverse global population in both the creation of motion pictures and in the audiences who connect with them, wrote the pair. The Academy is committed to playing a vital role in helping make this a reality. They added, "We believe these inclusion standards will be a catalyst for a long-lasting, essential change in our industry." No, it's not. It's not. It's really not. Like, nobody's taking your award ceremony seriously. You get lower and lower viewership every single year because people care less and less, and that has been a proven fact. It says these ridiculous diversity quotas now require films to include at least one of the lead actors or significant supporting actors is from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group and achieve the appropriate levels of on-screen representation, themes, and narratives in order to be eligible for the Academy's highest honor. Per the new guidelines, the underrepresented racial or ethnic groups include Asian, Hispanic, I'm not going to say the other word, Black, African American, Indigenous, Native American, Alaskan Native, Middle Eastern, North African, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, as well as any other underrepresented race or ethnicity. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we're at, man. This is why Hollywood is slowly dying a very slow death. Nobody cares about this crap. This is why people have tuned out to the overall message that's coming from Hollywood. And you know what? Let them keep making their grave, because ultimately, at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to have to get themselves out of it. And I just don't see that happening, considering that the strike for both the actors and the writers is pretty much going to solidify their deaths. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.